Hello, my name is Aryan, and today's this video I will show you how to create a user in Linux. Okay, in a Linux we have a two different command. They're using we can create a user. So first is user add command. This is a user add and the username that we want to create. Here I Aryan. Okay, now after that the user is created. Now I tell you a different way to create a user, that is add user. both look both command are look similar but a little bit different. The second user I want to use name Tony. Okay, click. When I creating second user, they need to also they tell to set a password for Tony user. The password I use Tony user password I set. Okay, then after I will add name of that user Tony star star and phone number 17 and work phone number. The detail New York. Okay. This is asking this information is correct. Yes. Now both user are created. Aryan and Tony. Tony with created with this all detail like star, like full name, Tony Stark, room number, and work phone number and home. And with it means Tony create Aryan created with a simple as a user, and Tony created with the password and other details. So clear this. Sorry. So So now I'll show you command. Using that command, we can list the user that in our system we use cat etc/passwd. Okay. Now you can see here Aryan and Tony both user are created, and Tony created with this detail like Tony Stark, full detail, name and directory. Now I'll show you how can we now you can see here I am as a root user. Now I want to switch as a uh, Tony. Okay, so we have a command su minus and username Tony. Now if you see here, I am as a Tony user, Tony Ubuntu and dev using ls. We see nothing. Okay, for go back to as a root user, we have a command exit. Okay, now I'm logged out as a root user. Now I want to go to as a RN user, so use su minus RN. Okay, you can see here warning cannot be changed directly to home RN. No such a file or directory. This is why, because when we create a RN as a user, that time we use user add. What use we use user user add command, and when we use this command, we don't have to add the detail about like a name, password, and other detail. We don't need to add them during the creation time. But when we use add add user command and the name of the user that we want anything. That time when we create a user, they also create a directory for the user. Like in the case of our Tony, for Tony, they created directory. When we log in as a Tony, that time we list the file because they have no file. Therefore they didn't show any file. But but when we try to switch as a user RN, but they show this message: warning cannot be changed directly to home RN. No such a file or directory. So it's mean when we create the user using user add and username, it's mean they only create the user name, okay? User as a username, not any directory or otherwise. Otherwise, when we create the user using add user, we also create user and user directory. Okay, directly. So I'll show you again. So I am as a root user. Okay. Now I'll show you root user directory of users using cd home. Okay. As a root user, I can see all the folder, all the directory that the other user had, like Tony and okay, using sucd. Now I am home root home folder and using ls I can list. Now you can see here Tony and Rocky is other user and Tony is had a directory in a home folder, but Aryan don't have a directory. So we have to create a directory using or mkdir. We can create directory as a Aryan here, ILS. Now you can see here Aryan as a directory created. Now if I go back and try to switch as a Aryan, so I'll switch as a Aryan. Now you can see here I'm not showing any type of error. Okay, so this is a using these two way we can create a user in Linux. Okay, using exit we go back to as a root user. CLR. Um, I want to show you another command that is history. History. I want using history. We list all the command that we run before, like a history of list of all the command that we previously used. Okay.